I am the river for my children. I am the desert dry place we live. I am the winds blowing seed yours. I am the sunset sky life you give. I am the forest breathing. We will be your voice. I am the storm clouds gathering. We will make the choice.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Earth Day webinar today. Hope you had a nice Earth Day today. We have a special guest tonight. He's Grandmasters from the printed products business. His name is Bruce Falkins from British Columbia. He's been in our business for about 15 years, and he's going to tell us about the advantages of joining the Rotary. First, there'll be an interview with Eco-Centric Brands. They manufacture shirts and garments from recycled landfill waste. May 28th through 30th, that's a Thursday through a Saturday. And on the 28th, we're trying to plan a visit to Ariel. And Ariel makes all those different shaped stress relievers. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of different shapes. And then we'll have our evening at Coastal, a little get-together and training on Friday and Saturday on the Oki data printer with white ink, on the Sawgrass new printer, and also different things with vinyl, heat press vinyl and rhinestones, and printing coffee cups. A lot of hands-on, and we'll get you signed up. We got a pretty good list so far. Register for the Facebook group we have. It's iTeam, SelfEmployedU.com. Kind of like what we call the old Pep Tech type of system. We're just out to help each other.
Okay, in celebration of Earth Day, yesterday, Ben and Sue Parker and I went down to Eco-Centric Brands in Denver. We interviewed them when we took this video. This is a 10-minute segment. We were really impressed with what they have. I first discovered this company at Promotional Products Association International in Las Vegas. We're very impressed with them. This is a preferred supplier for us. They're going to offer you special catalogs and sample arrangements. Let me kind of make the overall proclamation that if you're with iTeam, you're going to enjoy special benefits with suppliers. And Bob Britton in Albuquerque, our member, kind of heads up this preferred supplier program so that we have special offers for you. We have EQP pricing. Some of you know what that means. Let me show you this amazing company, Eco-Centric Brands, Earthspun. This is about a 10-minute segment.
Selling these special Earth Day t-shirts right here at the Ellen shop. Look how sweet that is. Isn't that great? Yeah, it's great. These are made from 100% recycled material, and here's how it works. This is fantastic because recycling is very important. We talk about that in the house a lot, right? Yeah. Okay. So it starts out as trash. Then they shred that, then they spin that into yarn, and then it turns out to be the t-shirt. Isn't that amazing? It comes from this, from trash like that. So, Sprite. Anyway, you can get them in our store and online.
Earthspun apparel t-shirts. What we do is we take your used root beer bottle or your plastic beer bottle, chop it up into chip, turn that into fiber, add a little recycled cotton. Got yourself a t-shirt made out of the beer bottle you drank from earlier. Look at me, I'm wearing my beer. Works for your soda bottles, your water bottles. We also have a shirt made out of former X-ray film. No dyes needed. Enjoy.
We're here today to celebrate Earth Day 2015. We're with Will Gwenny of Eco-Centric and Earthspun Apparel. Now, I met you guys at the Promotional Products Association International Las Vegas, and what you have is pretty exciting here.
So what we do at Eco-Centric Brands, we develop a line of recycled apparel. Our products typically come from post-consumer waste. And this box is a great display that shows we start off with a bottle. We shred it up, spin it into yarn, and blend it with recycled cotton and come up with a finished product like this. Green bottle gets us a green shirt. We make things like food tray black That's made from food trays, gives us our black color.
So these have great names to them.
This is made from Sprite bottles or 7-Up bottles. We call that soda pop green. This is our water bottle blue. Pink is made from ketchup bottles. We call that Rethink Pink. This is beer bottle brown. Food tray black, made from food trays. And X-ray gray, made from X-ray film.
That's just great.
We make hoodies in lightweight and heavyweight hoodies as well in the fleece. We have a line called Blue Bin, which is similar to Earthspun. This product is color segregated cotton shop. So in order to get a wider array of colors, we reverse the process, and we're able to come up with some green, different color blue, dark blue, gray with the aqua inside, and we have a few other colors that are not displayed as well, but we're also growing in a piece-dyed fashion the color spectrum that we have available for these products also. Down here on the end, we have our fall line coming out with, again, this is more of an organic cotton that we came up with some different textures and some collared shirts and, again, a broader range of colors to offer everybody in the promotional products world. And lastly, we have our Billboard Ecology line. We go about repurposing billboard material that you see on the side of the highway on advertisements, and we fashion those into bags, totes, and padfolios, makeup kits, you name it. And those can also be logoed. This was one that was done for Copper Mountain. Another one was done for a resort casino. They can brand them themselves. They can send us their billboards, and we will repurpose them into whatever they'd like. And that pretty much wraps up our entire line.
Well, this is pretty exciting for us, but can you give us the overview? The apparel industry is not the cleanest industry in the world environmentally, but what you've done here is a game changer. Give us some metrics on the benefit here and the carbon footprint issues.
Absolutely. So a typical or conventionally made cotton T-shirt requires about 400 gallons of water to make. In addition, it takes about a third pound of petrochemicals and pesticides per shirt to produce due to the farming for cotton. Our shirts actually save water in the making because we're not going to ground. We're using post-consumer or post-industrial cotton chop and recycled plastic, which is in effect polyester. It's been done for a long period of time. The thing that makes our product unique through Earthspun is that we have color segregated products that don't require any further dye, which again is better for the environment, better for the consumer, and better for the people who manufacture and touch the products as they're being made. So that's a huge savings to the environment, and of course with the bags, the metrics there is that there are hundreds of millions of pounds of these billboards that end up in landfills every year. By repurposing them, these bags are durable. The material themselves are washed, so they're safe before we turn them into anything. And they hold up and last for a really long time. So they're built for tough weather, and they make for great bags and accessories as well.
Now, you mentioned polyester content, and most of our members are involved in dye sublimation and decorating technologies like that. Are these sublimatable?
Yes, they are. In fact, one of our shirts has a print on it right here. It's a good illustration of what can be done. It works the same with multicolor, multi-drop printing as well. We do also have an example of a sublimated product as well on one of our shirts.
Okay, and is there a cost penalty here for doing good things? Let's just take a standard T-shirt, and how would that compare to what we can acquire from the old-fashioned from one of the big houses?
So no doubt you can buy shirts for $1.50 that are manufactured in some third world country. Our shirts are partly manufactured in the United States and finished in Guatemala. They're 100% recycled or made with organic cotton, ring spun, which lasts longer, and are priced to the equivalent of what you're finding in the organic shirts that are on the market. There's probably a 25 to 40% premium to have a product like this, but the added value of the message generally will override that premium if it's sold properly to the end user.
I think this is very important from a marketing standpoint, and the customers certainly will pay a premium for this, particularly for many specialty markets.
We'd like to welcome the IT members to go onto our website at Ecocentric Brands, reach out to us directly, up an account. We have all of our product catalogs are available online. We also have physical catalogs we can have made available, and we'd love to offer some special pricing on first round of sample orders for all of our products. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks so much for having us here today.
Thank you.
So thank you very much to Will Glennie of EcocentricBrands.com. I want to emphasize the importance of this kind of differentiation. Earth Day is always evocative for me because one of my past lives was not only in solar energy, but also in the environmental consulting industry. I got my degree from CEU in environmental sciences. And the whole idea of environmental hypocrisy has always bothered me. You know, there were solar energy systems that required far more energy to produce the system than they would ever generate in their useful lifespan. There are a lot of hybrid cars that are that way, frankly. So you have to be aware that there are many environmental clients that understand life cycle costing, and they understand the total life cycle impact of the products they're using. For example, think of the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of t-shirts that are printed for environmental organizations all the time. It's a huge, enormous market. But also think about the statistics that we were showing in the interview with Will. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with t-shirts or imprinted t-shirts. I am talking about the sensitivity to our client's interests, and our client's needs. I believe it was April 1st we did an iTeam webinar where we talked about don't just be a printer, be different. Differentiate yourself, go above and beyond, provide other services that the other companies are not providing. And I mentioned my friend where most of his business is now in the marijuana and medical marijuana trade, and I have suggested to him, why would you print a shirt for that kind of a business that wasn't manufactured out of organic hemp? So by the same token, this is what Earthspun Apparel and Ecocentric Brands means to us. If you're going in against a competitor to print shirts for any kind of an environmental organization, you are going to be greatly appreciated if you will differentiate in this way and show the client that you have the sensitivity and the knowledge and the know-how to bring them something that is really truly meaningful, and that is far in advance of and in addition to the simple graphic that they want on a t-shirt, the advertising graphic that they want to buy from you. You are offering them a holistic approach that really gets to the heart and soul of what their needs and interests are.
All right, well, there you have EcocentricBrands.com. Tell them the iTeam sent you, or call us for more information. Is my very dear friend Bruce on? Does he have a microphone?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you tonight?
Okay. I'm just wonderful. Enjoying listening to you guys.
Okay, it's I had to put you on as the grand finale. I hope you didn't mind waiting.
It's just really scary. I hope it's worthwhile.
Bruce, I want to start with this dossier I found online. I'm hoping that we end this conversation by asking you to tell us about the Rotary Club.
Sure.
But we've known each other how long? Like 15 years or more?
I think it's 17 years we met, 17 years ago.
We met at a press and print trade show. And you
Yes,
went
we
into
did.
promotional products business, but you came out of, as this dossier says, you were in advertising for Chevron of Canada. Can you give us a little sense of why did you start into this business?
Well, it was interesting. When I met Fred 17 years ago, I had been working in advertising for a large oil company, Chevron. I used to deal with people doing what I do now. Always was intrigued by it, thought it looked like a lot of fun, but didn't have any idea how to go into it. Later on, I worked for a large multinational chemical company and used to do trade shows with them, and I ran into a fellow in another city who was in the business, and it was a terrible trade show, but we ended up talking about his business because it fascinated me so much. And shortly after that, that's when I ran into Fred, and I thought, a bolt of lightning out of the sky, and I wasn't happy where I was at the time. So my wife and I talked a lot about it. We took a flying leap and here we are in this business.
You have been involved in the Canadian Promotional Products Association, so you're a guy that jumps in and gets involved at the top levels, and also local home business association. How has that helped you?
Well, because we had no idea. We were a long time in this community. Most of my business was done outside the community. Even though I worked for large corporations, I have had my main office in my home, and the other head offices were in Eastern Canada. So I've had the pleasure of working out of my home for years. So I was used to feeling motivated. But when we decided to get into this business, I heard that there was a local home-based business association, and we went to a meeting just on spec, met a whole bunch of people that were in the same boat, but potential clients as well. We joined. It was very inexpensive. We found that the home-based business associations are in a lot of communities, so they're all over the place. Great source of help if you need somebody to help you in your business, or to ask them questions, and they then ask me questions. But a lot of them became clients. After joining that, a friend of mine had been hounding me for years to join Rotary, and I just wasn't ready. We had a young family, and finally, after years of hounding, I decided to join one of our local Rotary clubs. That changed our lives. We've been very involved in Rotary for 17 years now. Currently, I'm our district governor, which covers an area of, it's about 14.5 to 15 hours to drive from one end of our district to the other, and we have Rotary clubs. But besides all the wonderful things Rotary does in our communities and around the world, it's been a great source of business. Members of Rotary either will do business with me, because Rotary is usually made up of business owners or management, but on top of that, if they don't or can't deal with me, they're the first ones to give me referrals. So that big help. I also joined at the same time. I thought, if I'm going to be involved in this, and Fred got me going in the business, but the company that you were working for at the time, Fred, they offered lots of support and help, but it was all U.S. based, and I found that was very difficult to import items. Some of them were very sensitive to import because the border people didn't like to do it, and I ended up, the costs were just so prohibitive because we had to get them across the border and broker them in. So I started researching Canadian companies that I could deal with. I found that the best way to belong to anything is to go in with both feet, and I joined the Promotional Products Association of Canada. You wouldn't believe how many accounts we could deal with, and contacts, etc. Plus we got to go to trade shows all over the place. Same way as they have them in Las Vegas or anywhere else in the U.S., but here in Canada we could go to the big one in Eastern Canada, or they had more miniature ones in Vancouver or Calgary, and I used to go to both of those as well. But this, plus there was education and everything else. And it allowed me to find my suppliers that made our life so much easier. Now,
Bruce, I want to come back to Rotary, but I wanted to do a flashback and embarrass you some.
Mm-hmm.
One day, this 17 years ago, as you say, I was sitting in a home show representing Press-A-Print in Colorado Springs, and I got a memo on the cell phone. The general manager said, "We have a potential business show in Kelowna, British Columbia." And the memo said that for those of you who are geography buffs, that's somewhere north of Montana. Well, I own land with my brother, and you've been a guest there in Montana. So, well, there's an opportunity. But I wondered about it, and I looked on the map, and it's not north of Montana. It's north of the state of Washington. But just a couple minutes later, a Canadian Air Force officer walked up to my booth and asked about it, and I thought that was kind of a sign from somebody from above, because in Colorado Springs, there's a lot of Canadian Air Force officers down there.
That's right.
He was from Kelowna. So right at that moment, I decided I would make the trek to Kelowna, and I met you here at the Grand Okanagan Hotel there on the shore of the lake, and that later became your client. And
that's right.
This picture, this is your upstairs home office. There's my wife Glenna and you guys, Donna and you, and I had to take that picture because you had just received an order from the Grand Okanagan Hotel, I think, for something like 20,000 pens. So you guys actually started in the automated pen business, right?
Well, we started doing as you can see, we had the pad printer there, and we did get involved with pen printing business, and we had a machine that did it. It was would do thousands of pens an hour, and so that allowed us to go after some large hotels, and the Grand Okanagan would buy 25,000 pens at a time, probably 2 to 3 times a year, plus other hotels and motels and other businesses. So that was an incredible help to our business. That was
that little blue machine. That's your favorite machine of all time, isn't it?
It's in a box in our basement.
Okay. Anybody that wants a pad printer, you have one there.
I mean, I have to tell you, we did do, holy cow, do a lot of pad printing. We did some button making. We did a whole bunch of things. For us, while it was fun, we decided we could do better by just brokering everything and doing it from suppliers. And 99% of our business we brought in and did through our various suppliers. And it was easy. Such a case as, people place in an order, I mean, that I dealt with at least once. I'd get an order, send a purchase order out to my supplier, bring the order in, and it would take 5 or 10 minutes of me working to do that, and made good dollars at it. And so that was my big thing, was going out and selling product and talking to them. There are people who join the iTeam website, they have the brokering privileges. But here's a picture I took of you in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We're starting up the button business. You guys are pretty dear friends of ours. Here we are at the Kamloops, British Columbia Home Show. That's right. Wow. And there we are in your backyard. We began to be just really obnoxious house guests for the Falcons, and it was like, oh no, here come Fred and Glenna again. Yeah, as soon as Fred and Glenna found our place at the lake, they just said, well, how about if we come up and visit again? Yeah. I'm teasing. We really enjoyed it. It was, as Fred says, we have become dear friends, and we don't see each other often enough because of the distance, but we were just planning on going to see Fred once more back in Oregon, so that we're planning that this summer. So that there's Fred's daughter. Yeah, now here we are, and now this goes to the iTeam concept, because here we are having a meeting of operators, you and us, and that's my daughter Cherie, and Orville and Michaela Seeger were here, and we're at the Arbutus Cove Bed and Breakfast on Vancouver Island, west of Victoria. That's right. There's my daughter at low tide, and there's the B&B just behind her. And Jerry, this is where I found that hockey puck. So a couple meetings ago, we talked about my barnacle-encrusted hockey puck and how that's distinctly Canadian. Okay. Yeah. And there we are at Vernon, British Columbia. And then you guys have come to Colorado. You visited my cousin Jenny's ranch, and so you could see some real Colorado beef production. That's right. That was the most amazing trip. Yeah, and there we are with my cousin Jenny, and her ranch has been featured in John Fielder's book, Ranches of Colorado. We went to Taos. We've done a lot, and just these are precious memories for us. You even came out to Moab, Utah on a trip, and we did some four-wheeling. You bet. All of this is for the biz op salesman or the franchise or even the multi-level person. These are called lifestyle pictures. You know, it's supposed to plant the subliminal image in the minds of everybody watching that, boy, all you have to do is join iTeam and befriend these people and get into the printed products business, and you too can travel the world and be in motorboats and so forth. But, you know, back to business. You were very good at getting publicity for yourself, and this is one piece I had here. How did you go about really establishing yourself as the go-to place in southern BC for promotional products? You know, part of it is just plain dumb luck, but the other part, I mean, you make your own luck. Part of it was joining Rotary. The publisher for this magazine, Okanagan Life, happened to be in my Rotary Club. So he wanted to do an interview, and I was in that 2 or 3 times. I got into the local newspaper. I was on several news broadcasts because I would do local trade shows. I found out that any of my competitors were not doing trade shows here in town, and so I'd go to small, tiny little trade shows, maybe only 30 to 50 booths, but I was the only one there, and everyone in there was coming looking for product. They weren't looking for advertising, but they would come to me and said, I didn't even know anyone was in this town, and my first reaction was to almost tell them, well, gee, if you look in the yellow pages, you'll see 25 of me that are right here in Kelowna, but I never did say that. So that was making my own luck. Doing the trade shows, the press would come by and say, oh, can I get your picture? That's neat. Now, I know, Bruce, you don't have a dog. I bet that's super. It's not my dog.
Maybe if Jerry could mute that mic. You and Ben, I think the dog will go away.
Yeah.
So let me explain this picture and then ask you to explain what's next. This is Colorado Springs. It's the retirement ceremony for Liz Anderson, Colonel U.S. Air Force Elizabeth Anderson, who put in more than 30 years service. After 9/11, was deployed to the Middle East, was the U.S. Air Force liaison to the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, among other postings, full bird colonel, and she invited us and a number of other home business operators to her retirement ceremony. As I recall, we had the commandant of the Air Force, U.S. Air Force Academy there, and Major General Wesley Clark of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, and you were the token Canadians, and she was gracious enough to invite Glenna and me. Liz is a press printer, but she now operates a pro forma promotional products business in Colorado Springs, but she's coming to join you in Rotary in British Columbia, right?
Well, one of the things when you get to be a district governor and responsible for a number of clubs in Rotary is that we hold a conference for all Rotarians, and in our case, in BC and Washington, are invited to the governor's hometown, which for me is Kelowna, BC, and we're holding our district conference at the University of British Columbia here. The other thing that we need to have is good guest speakers. It's kind of unique. We have a lot of female speakers, and two of the most impressive ones are we have Liz Anderson, former colonel. You mentioned in Islamabad. She was also in Balad Air Force Base, which was about 50 miles outside of Baghdad. And her final posting before she retired was in Guantanamo Bay. So Liz has an incredible story to tell, and we've heard her speak at different functions that she's invited us to in Colorado Springs. She does it with a great sense of humor. I mean, she's seen some terrible things because of her career, but she also sees funny things and exciting things. So she has a wonderful story, and a number of years ago she came to Kelowna to visit us, and I asked her at the time if she would come to my Rotary Club as a guest speaker, and she graciously said yes. So when it was time to plan a conference here a number of years ago, between myself and my conference chair, he brought it up and he said, "You have a friend in the U.S. Air Force." So that's when we invited Liz. She said yes without even pausing.
Well, that's neat. I'm just trying to give everybody a feel for the community of this industry and this association. I would like to attach I-Team to that list. The more involved you become, the more great friendships that develop, and really the better it is for our business. But all of this is to work up, Bruce, to having you tell our members, is there an opportunity to join Rotary Club, and how does that work, and can you tell us something?
You know, Rotary is an incredible organization. It's been around for 110 years, and yet in communities all over North America, Rotary is a leadership organization, number one. They're made up of local businesses, professionals, and civic leaders. You know, who else do you want to rub shoulders with if you're in business and make sales to? They meet every week. They get to know each other very well. Some of our best friends have come out of Rotary. Because of that, we get things done in our own community, but also around the world. Rotary is in every corner of the world in over 200 regions, and we have about 1.2 million Rotarians. Someone once mentioned to me about Rotarians, and they were having difficulty in their job, and he said, you know, I should call some of my friends. And I just realized I have 1.2 million friends. I just haven't met them all yet. I've done business with Rotarians in my own community, in other communities, and the other thing that is a feel-good part of it is that Rotarians are just honest, wonderful people, and you couldn't hope to find better friends. So if you're going to be in this business especially, it's an organization you know you're going to get some clients out of, but you're going to get some really good friends as well.
And how do people start? Where's the place to start?
Well, usually people are invited to join a Rotary Club. As I mentioned off the top, I had a good friend who kept asking me if I would come out to have a meal at his club. Rotary Clubs generally meet at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, although we're having more and more that become cocktail hour clubs. You're usually invited, but if I just had a phone call today from an individual who's moving to our town. He would like to meet with me for coffee, and he wants to join Rotary. If you can find a Rotary club, and they're usually, if you phone directory assistance or look in the yellow pages, most often you'll find one. Better still, go online, and you'll find a Rotary club in your own community and contact them and say you're interested in joining Rotary or learning more about Rotary, and you'll get a phone call from somebody like I did with this individual this afternoon, and I'm meeting him for coffee next week. Most clubs will invite you out for a free meal the first time just to see what it's all about. Anyone is welcome to come.
You know, this is the best advice that we can give in terms of marketing. It's not a marketing effort. Draw the line on that. This is not about going in and selling things. This is about service to the community. As we're going to talk about at Saturday's webinar, when you help others, inevitably that benefit accrues to yourself.
I hear all the time when somebody says you know, especially the people that have been in Rotary for 10 or 15 years or more, the question, why did you join Rotary? Well, I joined to get contacts, or I joined because I wanted to do good things. Why did you stay in Rotary? The friendships, clients you gained from it. If I didn't get one more client out of Rotary, I would still stay in Rotary because it feels so good to be a part of it. But that just happens to come. You know, it's funny, you don't get clients every single day or every single week. But I had a new account about a month ago that I've been in Rotary with them for years, and they just decided all of a sudden that they need some promotional materials. So guess what, who they went to? And I'll tell you right now, we have golf shirts and dress shirts and some T-shirts that we're using for our district conference here in Kelowna in June. And I'll tell you right now who they went to get all of these things. It was me. That is the nice part of it. But I have to tell you, it's the friendships, it's the people we've met. And, you know, in Rotary, you meet people from every corner of the world. And what other organization could you do something like that? One of the things I have told tons of people from being in the promotional products business is the people you get to do business with. I've been involved in several marketing organizations, and the people I did business with were, you know, sort of, it was just a one-trick pony. You sold one type of product, and you had to find certain clients that were interested in those products. Well, in this business, I can deal with a lawyer 1 minute and an accountant another, a guy that runs a gas station another, and any kind of business in between. So that's what's so much fun about this business. It's a business that allows you to rub shoulders with any other organization out there, whether it's charity work or corporate.
We used to say that this promotional advertising business, it's the business that is at the center of all other businesses.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, Bruce, great privilege to have you. A lot of fun. We're looking forward to trying to figure out a way to get together in Oregon in August. Really appreciate your time this evening.
We're counting on it. If you can't renege now, we'll see you in Oregon.
I get up and see you and my daughter at Portland State, and thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Fred. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope I didn't bore anybody.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Great information from Bruce for sure.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Fred.